This is E-Weekly, Eastern Michigan University's campus news. This week we have news on the racial slur on Ford Hall and reactions from the campus community. Also hear about the mock presidential debate on campus and the cross-country team's success at the MAC Championships. Dominique Bird is back with Dish with Dom and this week's Eagle Encounters. Stay with us because this is E-Weekly.
Hello everyone, it's time. It's finally going to happen. Election Day is only a few short days away, so locate that voter registration card and get ready to cast your vote. But in the meantime, we've got your campus news. I'm Shannon Smith.
And I'm David Pierce Anderson. Find your local polling place and put the date on your Google Calendar to remind yourself to set aside time to exercise your civic duty. No matter how much your hand shakes while filling in those little circles, each vote counts, so get out there and do it. But as Shannon said, right now it's time for the news in our little corner of the universe. This is E-Weekly. Let's get to this week's news.
Eastern Michigan University claims to have over 700 cameras on campus, but after the racist graffiti incident in the courtyard of King Hall, it wasn't long before the shocking lack of surveillance cameras in that area was revealed. Fortunately, EMU's physical plant is renovating the courtyard. According to Jeff Larkham, they will be installing a new light pole, security cameras, and they also plan to construct a walkway between the King Hall and Marshall building. The renovation was funded by existing funds set aside for safety measures. Construction plans show the renovations should be completed by now, so take a stroll over that way and check out their handiwork. Later, David is reporting on the latest graffiti activity on the east side of Ford Hall. Perhaps it's time to upgrade the security by Ford Hall as well.
School has been in session for almost 2 months, but the Student Center Food Court just held its official grand opening on October 13th. EMU is now in partnership with Chartwell's, a catering service that works with over 280 other colleges. Renovations moved the lobby shop, eliminated Wendy's and Subway, and added Smashburger and Mondo in the Student Center. Students have mixed feelings about the changes. The veggie burgers leave a lot to be desired. However, Mondo, the sub shop, and Zatar, offering Mediterranean cuisine, are two highlights. In the past, Wendy's and Subway did not accept meal plan. However, this year, Smashburger does, another benefit for students. Chartwell's hopes to continue with future additions here at EMU. Starbucks will be moving downstairs from the second floor, and seeing a Chick-fil-A in the near future is very likely. While EMU changed partnerships and Chartwell's changed options and names of some shops, sorry, Sono, you'll always be salsa grilled to me.
There's always someone that decides to wear a racially insensitive costume for Halloween. Luckily, here at Eastern, we have the Center for Multicultural Affairs to make an effort to promote awareness for students so they can avoid being that person. A few weeks before Halloween, the organization hosted We Are Not a Costume. The event covered multiple ethnicities and the significance of their cultural traditions. Discussions included the importance of the Native American headdress, the bindi decorations that hold strong meaning for Hindu women, and of course, skin color and over-sexualization of Halloween costumes in today's youth. Sydney Skaggs, president of the Native American Student Association, shared advice on how to approach someone wearing an offensive costume. Skaggs suggests nicely telling that person that their costume is offensive and ask them if they know the meaning behind it. Skaggs believes that educating people earlier than college would help prevent future issues with controversial costumes. If you think your costume is going to offend someone, then it's probably not a good idea to wear it.
With the election coming up in only a few more days, there are still plenty of questions to be asked. At the end of it all, we will have the United States' 45th president. In a last-minute effort to persuade some states, Donald Trump made an appearance this past Monday in Michigan, visiting Grand Rapids and Warren. Realizing he is trailing Hillary Clinton in the polls, he hopes to swing some of these blue states to go red. 18 states, not including Washington, D.C., have voted Democratic since 1992. Not to mention, Clinton has a lead in Colorado, New Hampshire, North Carolina, and Virginia, which have been swing states in the past elections. While Clinton has a sizable lead, these two candidates are the two least popular presidential candidates in American history. A Washington Post poll shows that 56% of people have an unfavorable opinion of Clinton, while 62% have an unfavorable opinion of Trump. But don't worry, after November 8th, we won't have to worry about the election anymore. Then our concerns will move toward the elected.
We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we've got more news, sports, and Dom will be back with her dish and Eagle Encounters. There's plenty more left, so stay tuned.
This message has been sent to you to inform you of the new Eastern Michigan University webmail update policy. We've recently upgraded our database to Perl 8.5 DPS, and we strictly insist that you update your email account immediately. Start update. Click here to begin.
Whoa, stop it here. Rewind. What did you do wrong? Or should I say, what didn't you do?
I don't know. Put in the wrong password?
Correct! No. That was a phishing email you almost fell for. A what? A phishing email. You know, an email sent by thieves who try to trick people out of their personal information by disguising themselves as someone trustworthy.
Oh. I almost fell for that.
I know.
Well, what should I have done?
Sandwich board! Sandwich board?
Sandwich board?
Here, put this on. No, you don't. Phishing emails. Hey, not so hard. Phishing emails are thieves trying to gain access to your usernames, passwords, credit cards, etc. Be on the lookout for fishy keywords, such as update account, check, validate, check, verify, check, click here, check, etc.
Yeah, fishy phrases.
Ah, yes. Phishing emails like these always have a sense of urgency and aggression with them, and generally include a link to a fake web page that mimics a website that you may think you are on.
Fishy sites.
Well, how do I know that is a phishing email?
It can be tricky. Hover over the link and look in the lower left-hand corner of your web browser to see the URL. It should accurately reflect the linked address you think you're going to go to.
How do I know if this URL is legitimate?
It shouldn't begin with IP addresses, like 175.152.28, and it should end with a legitimate company name, like mail.emish.edu, not emish.edu.freebooks.net. If a site has additional pages, the URL will come after the .com, .edu, .org, etc., and it will contain forward slashes, something like emish.edu/esafe.
Uh-huh.
All right. If it's not a legitimate URL, what should I do?
Mark it as spam and delete it. But if you're at a site you've verified as legitimate, just make sure before you enter any personal information that the URL says HTTPS at the beginning, not just HTTP.
Yeah, the S is for security.
Here's another tip. If you type in your password and it's not hidden, it's most likely a phishing attempt trying to get your personal information.
So if I type my password and it isn't hidden, then it for sure is not a legitimate email.
Ding, 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 ding! We've got a winner!
Pretty much. But just because the password's hidden doesn't mean it's always legit. You always have to check the URL too to be safe. When in doubt, get help and verify the email's actually legitimate.
Good to know.
And hey, just remember, think before you click, post, and type.
Welcome back. Now back to the news. If you've ever wanted to be considered superior, Beta Alpha Phi might be the club for you to join. Beta Alpha Phi is a national accounting honors organization, and Eastern Michigan University's chapter has just recently been nationally recognized as a superior chapter for this past academic year. Not only do the members complete hours of community service, they also host weekly meetings with employers to gain insight on how to prepare yourself and conduct yourself for an interview. While the club has exceeded its minimum requirements, Beta Alpha Pi continues to excel in academics, professionalism, and leadership. In the past year, Beta Alpha Pi members filled out 120 tax returns for low-income residents in the Ypsilanti community. Faculty advisor of the club, Howard Bunnis, spoke highly of the club's members and stated that the students exemplify what is best at EMU.
I hate to have to continue reporting on such issues. It's sad when the news becomes a rerun. However, on Halloween, yet another racial slur was found on EMU's campus, this time on the exterior wall of Ford Building, home of ETV. This is the third hateful slur found on an EMU building since late September. The reward to catch these perpetrators has increased to $10,000, doubling since last announced. This applies to the information leading to the arrest of the most recent events, too. Another racial slur was found over the weekend in a Hoyt elevator. However, a mass email was not sent out to the student body. Associate Vice President of Student Affairs, Calvin Phillips, and other faculty members will be reaching out to the student leaders to continue the ongoing communication that has followed the incidents. New security cameras were added to the east side of Ford Hall just this week, literally installed the same day as the incident. Too little too late, but they're there now. Let's stop the BS. Call 734-487-1222 to connect EMU Police, and 734-487-4847 for the tip line. The graffiti incidents were meant to divide, but the campus has been a buzz of solidarity. Just this morning, a peaceful gathering gave students, faculty, and staff the opportunity to openly protest and discuss the disturbing messages placed on campus buildings. A couple of our ETV Club and E-Weekly crew members joined the congregation and now give us a glimpse into the message given to the crowd outside of Ford. Take a look.
This was the scene this morning outside of Ford Hall as faculty and students joined together in all black as a statement of solidarity to witness and protest racism on campus. The protest was a response to one of 3 racial slurs found on this campus since September 20th. One of the organizers, Christine Hume, a professor of creative writing in the English department, stated, "We are here to show support for Black students, staff, and faculty, and send a message to the campus and to the community at large that we will not proceed as usual, and we are dedicated to change culture on our campus."
An African proverb that goes, "Until the lions have their own historians, a tale of the hunt will always glorify the hunter." The story of what's happening here at Eastern is a long storied history of Michigan doing this thing. Guess what? They might be listening right now, so let's give them a message. Because they want to stir the pot. They want to aggravate us. And they're doing this intentionally, or he or she is doing this intentionally. But here's what they need to know, whoever is doing that as much times as it happens, we will rise. Amen. Yes. No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! So, our house! So, our house! So, our house!
Mayor! You know that you have to get uncomfortable before you get comfortable.
Now, Lieutenant Diana Young and one of her sergeants were among the participants of the rally today, and they expressed their full support for our students, and they are trying to do everything in their power to catch whoever is responsible. Now, if you would like to continue to show your support, there will be a day-long teach-in on Monday, November 14th at McKinney Hall, discussing racism, diversity, and inclusion on our campus. This is Dominique Bird.
To contribute your ideas for panels, performances, or activities for the November 14th teach-in, email faculty_senate@emish.edu. Now, finally, a little bit of good news. I know there's such a thing. Moving forward, still to come, we have Anna Moga and Sarah Podaraki with the latest in Eagle sports. But first, we have the Dish with Damo, brought to you by the divine Dominique Bird. Welcome, Dominique.
Thanks, David, and welcome back to another Dish with Damo. It's so good to see you again. After my restful night of Netflix and chilled wine, I am so happy to welcome November with sweater-clad arms. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been preparing for what, you may ask? Well, November 5th is National Book Day. This is the perfect time to head to one of our local libraries. Now, did you know that the Ypsi District Library was once housed right here on campus? It's true. The library was originally formed in 1868 by a group of women who had originally formed just a reading group. Now, as time progressed, the small collection of 175 volumes became too large and was moved to the Starkweather building, donated to us by Miss Mary Starkweather. However, the library needed a bit more space, and they jumped at the opportunity in 1963 to relocate to the old U.S. Post Office at the library's current location on Michigan Avenue. Now, to support its operation and upgrades, the library held book sales twice a month. With the funds raised, the library was renovated and the quiet room was upgraded at the Whitaker location in Ypsilanti Township. Ypsilanti even added a new location in Superior Township in 2007. Now, there is no excuse to say you cannot find anything good to read between these three libraries. So, on National Book Day, grab a good book and cuddle up with a nice cup of cocoa. To find out more about these locations, visit ypsilibrary.org. Thanks for having me for another dish. Coming up with Anna Moga and Sarah Podaraki are back to give you the latest in sports with the spring edition of Eagle Sports Update. Don't go away.
My mom's birthday was coming up fast, so I needed to go out shopping for something quick. I needed to move money from my savings to my checking account so I could use my debit card at the mall. I cracked open my laptop, hit the bookmark from my bank, and entered in my username and password. What the heck? I got sent back to the home page. So I entered in my username and password again, made the transfer, and went to the mall where I found this cool little necklace for my mom. That's good news, right? The bad news is, the next week I went to make a purchase and they told me that I had insufficient funds to cover that purchase. Long story short, when I had logged into my bank the first time, I got redirected to a fake site that stole my username and password. I guess I got a virus that redirected my bookmark. The thieves had a field day with my account. I wish I had known then what I know now. You have to check and make sure you're really on your bank's website. This could be done by either recognizing an image you've selected or clicking a lock or VeriSafe icon and comparing the bank's web address to a web address you've got on our certificate. My name is Luke, and I'm trying to be e-safe.
sports. Welcome to the Eagle Sports Update Sprint Edition. I'm Sarah Poderacki.
And I'm Anna Moga, and here is the latest in Eagle Sports news.
I've got an idea. How about we start our sports news by reporting on one of our most successful programs in EMU history. The men's and women's cross-country teams had a phenomenal weekend, with both teams performing exceptionally well this past Saturday at the Mid-American Conference Championships. With a MAC record 15 points, the men's team went on to claim their 7th consecutive conference title. Dominating the race, the Eagles held on to the top 5 spots for the vast majority of the event. Head coach John Goodrich said, "It was certainly a special performance for the athletes, coach, program, and record book." In order from 1st to 5th were Nick Raymond, Cleaner Anderson, Saba Matko, Abel Flores, and Lassine Bouchiki. With this victory, EMU claimed their 21st MAC title in program history. With 27 points, the women team brought home their 2nd consecutive conference title. 4 Harriers finished within the top 10. First was junior Jordan McDermott, in 3rd came senior Alsu Bogdanova, and in 4th, redshirt sophomore Natalie Sismuth. Head coach Sue Parks said, "We've never had more than 3 All-MAC runners during my time at Eastern, so it was very satisfying to have 6 today." Both teams will have a weekend free of competition before heading off to the NCAA Great Lakes Regional in Wisconsin on November 11th.
The Eastern Michigan women's soccer team played their last game of the season this weekend at the Mid-American Conference Tournament. This was the first time since 2014 that Eastern Michigan made it back to the MAC tournament. Taking on Kent State, the number 2 seeded team, our 7th seed Eagles lost 2-0, cutting their season short in the first round on Sunday, October 30th. While we may have lost the game, the green and white held their own for the entire first half, keeping the game tied at 0. Try as they might, the Eagles struggled to keep the goals out of the net as the game progressed. Not only was this the last game of the season, it was also the last game of several players' careers. Jennifer Bentley, Rachel Washburn, Ellie Tiller, Michelle Rowlands, Madison Hirsch, Steph Barcelos, and Gabriella Mancini. We wish you the best of luck. The Eagles closed 2016 with a 6-10-4 overall record.
Despite a good game, the Eastern Eagles had their wings clipped last Saturday by the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. Even Swoop didn't stick around to watch the game. In the first quarter, Eastern was down by 2 touchdowns, but they were able to hold off the Redhawks in the second quarter. Redshirt freshman Paul Fricano also put the Eagles on the board with a 3-point conversion. Miami scored another 14 points between the 3rd and 4th quarters, but the Eagles did not go down without a fight. They managed to score another 12 points in the 4th quarter in an attempt to take the game back. Sadly, Eastern fell short and Miami came out on top 28-15. This game marks the 3rd consecutive game in which redshirt junior Brogan Roback passed for more than 300 yards. Additionally, the team had their highest individual receiving output since 2004. With this game, the Eagles fall to 5-4 and 2-3 in the MAC. They will be continuing their MAC season after 10 days off with a game at Ball State on Tuesday, November 8th.
The EMU men and women's basketball teams hosted the first ever Crash the Convo event at the Convocation Center on November 1st. This was the chance for EMU fans to get to see their teams in action before the start of the 2016-17 season. The event began with a skills competition where both the men's and women's teams joined together in attempting to shoot the most three-pointers and half-court shots in 25 seconds. The men's team then squared off against each other in a fun scrimmage where they got to show off some pretty impressive plays for the fans. Finally, some of the men's team participated in a dunk contest that was judged by the women's team, in which junior guard Tim Bond emerged as the champion. Basketball season is quickly approaching as the women's team opened their season at home against Ferris State on November 16th at noon. The men's team is projected to win the MAC West Division this season, and their opener game is at home against Rochester College on November 15th at 11 a.m. It should be a great season for both squads, so be sure to come out and cheer them on. Coming up next, Dominique Burt is back to set you up for success. She's got your weekend plans on campus with this week's Eagle Encounters. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Welcome to one of the fastest growing universities for freshmen in Michigan. A university where differences are celebrated. Where faculty believe their students' success is their success. Where our honors college has doubled in size, and where we are nationally recognized for educating and improving our community. Being here is about being part of something bigger. It's about being part of a family. It's about fitting in while standing out. the time to challenge yourself and be surrounded by people who truly care about your success. So whether you become an artist who inspires others, a creator who develops something new, or an innovator who changes the way people think, this is your opportunity. Fuel your curiosity through research. Hit the stage and enrich the lives of others. Compete in Division I athletics. No matter your path, we all bleed green. So roll up your sleeves. Dive in. Experience learning in and out of the classroom. Be a student of life. Welcome to higher education. Welcome to Eastern Michigan University. Welcome home.
Are you an EMU student interested in getting a first-hand experience working at a radio station? Well, say no more. EMU offers a class through Eagle Radio that will thoroughly prepare you for a real-life experience. But first, you have to register for the class. Pick a date and a time slot. Then the world is yours. Eagle Radio allows you to be fully independent and customize your own show. Have real conversations about the news, celebrity gossip, update listeners about the weather, play a trivia game. It's your show. You're free to name your show whatever you want and play any edited music of your choice. If you love having heated debates and you feel your words need to be heard, then Eagle Radio is just for you.
It's time again to talk about what you can do on or around campus over the weekend. It's hunker down time until Thanksgiving break. It's only 3 weeks away, so if you need to reserve a ticket on a megabus home, I suggest you book it now or you'll be stuck with turkey leftovers at the tower. Now on Friday afternoon at the Student Center, a unique event is taking place in room 352. Lipez Ela and Rebecca Avera host a presentation called My Journey Within Israeli Society, the story of Ethiopian and Arab Jews. These two strong Israeli women share their personal stories about their communities in Israel. They present from 5 to 7 p.m. and it is free to students. Then the Friday night movie is returning. This week's screening is Finding Dory. See the friendly but forgetful blue tangfish search for her long-lost parents and maybe learn a few things about the real meaning of family along the way. Screenings are at both an 8 and 10:30 p.m. in the Student Center auditorium. As usual, the Friday night movie is free for EMU students. On Saturday, the Eastern Michigan wrestling team kicks off their season by hosting an entire day of wrestling events at the Convocation Center. The official website of the Eastern Michigan Eagles just says that this event takes place all day, so stop in and cheer them on as they take to the mat. As for the rest of the weekend, catch up on that paper you've been putting off. Review those notes you didn't really pay attention to when you wrote them down. Now's the time to catch up before you get too far behind. After all, we are here for education, aren't we? Well, thanks for joining me yet again for this week's Eagle Encounters. I'll see you again in a couple weeks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dominique. All right, you E-Weekly fanatics. While there will be plenty of news happening due to the upcoming election, E-Weekly needs to take the next week off. The studio will be closed and we lost our spare key, so we're going to have to sit back and bask in the post-election glow, or fury. I guess we'll see which one next week.
But don't worry, we'll return in a couple of weeks with plenty of campus news. I know it's hard to imagine entering November without us, but I promise we'll be back. So thank you so much for joining us here at ETV. We appreciate you and you continuing to tune in.
And of course, while we're away, if you want to see the show on demand, head over to YouTube and search ETV at EMU. I'm David Pierce Anderson.
And I'm Shannon Smith. Have a great weekend.
Week.
true EMU.